राधे जय जय माधव जय
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 गोकुल चारुणी मंगल
गोकुल चारुणी मंगल महिते
Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki
Jai.
Shri Radha Damodar ji ki
Jai.
Shri Radha Giridhari ji ki
Jai.
Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
Gopimanand
Hari Bol.
Shri Guru Parampara.
Jai.
So this song is written, or at least it is credited to have been written by Sri Rupa Goswami. So probably there aren't many more qualified people than Rupa Goswami to write a song or bhajan glorifying Srimati Radharani. So he says, glories, all glories to Srimati Radharani, the beloved of Madhava, the most worshipable of the cowherd girls of Gokula Mandala. So see the beauty and the charm. He must have known who will be our Lord here, Radha Madhava. Special mercy for Govindaji Gardens. What was Rupa Goswami's deity, the main deity, you can say, the main deity that Rupa Goswami worshipped? Radha Govinda. So what is the meaning of Madhava? It means the husband of the goddess of fortune. So always songs or poetries which are written by saintly persons are not just poetic sounds, rhyming words, and such things. Their songs or their poetries, their bhajans are an expression of their own devotion, an expression of their own love for Krishna, and their songs are also full of instruction for aspiring devotees, and as such they are also full of knowledge. So the other day, I was talking with somebody about something was being offered, or something, I forget. With somebody from South India who's a little more in the Sri Vaishnava line, and thus worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. And there was something, I forget what it was, but I said, oh, that will be all right because Radharani is Lakshmi. Radharani is the source of Lakshmi. And it was like somebody turned up the voltage to 440. It was like, because in their particular thinking, nothing goes beyond Mahalakshmi. But Mahalakshmi is one of the names of Radharani. Radharani is the source of the Lakshmis. Just as Krishna is the source of Vishnu, that means Vishnu is an incarnation. Vishnu is an incarnation of Krishna. So Lakshmi or Mahalakshmi is an incarnation of Radharani. Lord Shiva is also an expansion of Krishna. Not like the Vishnu Tattva, a unique Tattva called Shiva Tattva. So therefore, who is Parvati? Parvati is also an expansion of Radharani. And in this material world, Durga also, Devi, all the divine Devis, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, even Bhadrakali, is the expansion of Radharani. So all the Devis and Devas are originally coming down from Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna. So here he's telling Madhava, husband of the goddess of fortune, letting us know, or letting somebody know, that Radharani is indeed the goddess of fortune, the supreme goddess of fortune, in fact. Then he says, decorated by the dress of Lord Damodar's increasing ecstasy, you are the lady of the house of Lord Hari and the groves of Vrindavan. So, Krishna is sometimes called Vrindavan Ishwar, Lord of Vrindavan. There's another word out there, Vrindavanishwari, mistress of Vrindavan, and that is Radharani, Vrindavanishwari. So this is a day where the secret gets let out. It's the lady of the house who holds the upper hand, not the man. That is true throughout the world, and that is true throughout the material world, that is true throughout the spiritual world also. They have this saying, the man of the house. But anybody who's ever been in a house know that the man of the house is the woman of the house. That's who's the man of the house. That's who really controls the house. So in the house of Hari, in the house of Krishna, and Krishna is the Ishwar controlling the world, but who's controlling Krishna? Nobody can control Krishna. He's completely uncontrollable. But one personality completely controls Krishna, and that is Radharani. Krishna himself becomes servant to Radharani. Then Rupa Goswami says, from the ocean of Vrishabhanu has arisen a new moon, which is overwhelming the qualities of Lolita and Vishaka. So Lolita and Vishaka are also important personalities in Krishna Leela amongst the gopis. They are the right and left hand friends, so to speak, of Srimati Radharani. They are her main advisors. And they are the abode of all divine and good qualities. And if I'm not mistaken, both are older than Radharani. So they look after her in Leela like a younger sister. But because they are born first, in the village, people notice their qualities first, you see. And they are both known. And Lalita, and also this is important because Lolita and Vishaka are mentioned in various places in the Puranas, here and there. I don't have those references for you, but trust me, they're mentioned there. And their qualities are extolled there. What qualities, what divine qualities these gopis have, Lolita and Vishaka. So here, Rupa Goswami is saying that with the appearance of Radharani, she has overwhelmed the qualities of Lolita and Vishaka. So Lolita and Vishaka also are not independent jivas. Radharani is not a jiva soul. We're all jiva souls here. Radharani is not a jiva soul. Lolita and Vishaka, they're also not jiva souls. They're not jiva souls. They're all called marginal entities. Marginal means they can come under the influence of Maya. All jivas, all atmas. But there are types of, we say in English, entities or personalities in the spiritual world. They can never come under the control of Maya. Therefore, they are not jivas. They're not jivatas. They are called parshads. Parshads means they are always in the spiritual world. They're always associating with the Supreme Lord and in his pastimes. So Lolita and Vishaka, they're that quality also. And they are expanded from Radharani. And if you take water from this pond and take it and analyze it, it will have the same characteristics of this pond. But you might not have captured all the characteristic qualities of this water. There may be some water in the far corner, which is a little different than where you scoop the water. But basically, the scoop of the water will have the same qualities, because that's where it came from. So, Lolita and Vishaka, they have many of the qualities of Srimati Radharani. Just like Uddhava. Uddhava has so many of the qualities of Krishna, he looks exactly like him. Uddhava. You heard the name of Uddhava. He looks exactly like Krishna. It takes only the greatest experts at a glance to look and see what is not Krishna, if it is actually Uddhava. He looks exactly like Krishna. Living entities share in the qualities of Krishna, the jivas. Krishna is eternal, you're eternal. Sat, Chit, Ananda. These are the three basic qualities of Krishna and that way. There's also another list of how many is it? 64 qualities of Krishna, of which the jivas have 52, is it? Less than more than that. Not 58? 52. You see in the Nectar Devotion, each quality of Krishna is mentioned. Characteristics, qualities. And up to 52, Maharaj is remembering, okay, it's 52. We also share in those same qualities in a small manner, minutely. Krishna has them completely, he has them fully. You see? For example, one of the characteristics may be, give me one characteristic. He is charming. That's a characteristic. Well, so many children are charming, so many ladies are charming, so many businessmen are charming. Charm the money right out of your pocket. Charming. But Krishna's charm can hold the whole world spellbound. Understand? So much charm in Krishna. We're only manifesting a small bit of that charm. Okay? So the qualities then increase towards the demigods, towards Lord Shiva. He has more qualities than the living entities. More qualities than Lord Shiva. Lord Narayan has more qualities, more characteristics. Absent in the living entity, also absent in the demigods, also absent in Lord Shiva. Lastly, you come to Krishna. He has certain qualities, four particularly, that Lord Narayan himself does not manifest. So how you know Krishna is superior to Vishnu, Narayan? Well, if you say, well, if what you're told is one thing, right? Well, another chap is told there is no God anyway. So it's not just based on what you're told. You, of course, you believe what you're told. Everybody believes what they're told. You see, people. We were just in the Maldives, and people were asking, how do you like this place? But how could you like this place? I mean, you could not like it if you're there for a few days. It was a great place. It would be the last place on earth I would want to live, because it's not on earth. It's just floating on top of the water. One little city with 10,000 motorcycles. Nothing to do and nowhere to go. I mean, actually, nobody could like that place. You see. But due to conditioning, who lives there says, God, this is the best place in the world. That boy that was on the plane with us, he was saying he'd been in Bangalore, he was appreciating India so much green, but I don't like any place. I like Maldives. And he doesn't even have, he never gets dirty because there is no dirt. There's no dirt there. There's only coral and water. But everybody thinks where they are is such a great and grand place. Well, in fact, there is a lot of nice places in the world, you see, but that's just our conditioning, where we think where we are from is the best. Just like everybody thinks their wife is special. Everybody who gets married, I've had so many devotees come to me and say, Maharaja, my wife is really special. And the guy just left the room telling me the same thing. You know. Hardly anybody comes and says, oh, my wife drives me crazy. You have to be crazy to get married in the first place. All right, so what was I talking about? Remember, everybody's stunned. We're talking about the quality.
How do we know that Krishna is...
Yes, so just because they tell. So then you analyze. And when you start to analyze the Maldives, they don't even have any dirt, there are no trees, there is no grass. This could not be the best place on earth. There are qualities. But there's food. No food there. No food, only fish. You know? So you start eliminating desirable places and what's actually good. You see? And when you look at any country, you assess what type of climates it has, what kind of natural resources it has, mountains, rivers, streams, lakes. What does it have? Characteristics. You see. So in this way, even something like gold. You want to sell some gold. You throw it out there on the counter. I want to sell my gold. The first thing the man does is get out his little bottles of acid and his little modern machinery. And he figures out, at least he makes you think he figures out, he actually cheats you, which quality of gold you have. And we're always surprised when we go to sell gold, because we never get the money that we thought we'll get from it. Because when you bought it, you were lied to, and when you sold it, you're lied to. There's no lawyers here, but jewelers are just like lawyers. Liars. Perpetual liars. They lie on both ends. But there's a quality of the gold. There's different carats of the gold. Different quality. In the world, money. We all have money in every country, but it's all not the same. You see? There's different characteristics. Value is placed on that money. So it is by similar analysis that you find out who is the supreme. So you start with the demigods, etc. Yesterday or this week, Ganesh, Jayanti. It's a great time for swimming, partying, shouting, right? But when you analyze the position of Ganesh, Ganesh does not hold the position of Parabrahma. He is not the supreme. His characteristics are unique. Big elephant nose, all this stuff. But is he known to give liberation? What is he known for?
Removing obstacles.
Yes, and auspicious beginnings. He's the Lord of beginnings and a certain Lord of auspiciousness. But then you see in himself, he's wearing a tilak. He's wearing the nama. So what's going on here? Who is he actually? What is he doing? Look deeper into the life of Ganesh. You find out Ganesh is a devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev. All the demigods are devotees of Vishnu, different forms of Vishnu. You should not be surprised to hear that a particular demigod, or deva, or devi is devoted to a form of Vishnu. They are all devoted to the forms of Vishnu. There's a story that there was an intelligent German back sometime, probably in the time of Gaudiya Math, early days, and a lot of Germans came to India in those days. Germans had a lot of interest. They still have a lot of interest in philosophy of India and these things, but particularly in those days, they were even more keen. And this one German man is said to have come to India to find out who is the supreme God. And so he went around, made his various observations. Of course, he didn't just look, he read, and he talked, and he made observations. Well, his conclusion was that Vishnu, or Krishna, must be the supreme, because he has nothing to do. He has nothing to do. If you have something to do, it means you're working for somebody. You're still dependent on something. And the example he gave when he explained himself was, he saw that Brahma is always described and Shiva as either chanting on beads or being in meditation. So if they're chanting on beads or being in meditation, then they must be chanting on something and meditating on something higher than themselves. Because it usually comes down to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And in general Hinduism, it's Ayappa, it's this one, it's that one, it's Santoshi Ma, and all this stuff. You can't find out anything from the Hindus. But from the Pandits, it's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. This is called the trilogy. But many people, same. So he started analyzing, because the very meaning of supreme means there is no equal. So how can you have same? Equal. Then it's not the supreme. The supreme, if you look up this word in English, and I'm sure it's pretty consistent through other languages, there is no equal. Otherwise it's not supreme. It must stand above all else. So is there a supreme God? And they're saying Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, same. So he had a problem with that, understand? So he analyzed it. They are meditating, and that means they're not the supreme. But Vishnu is reclining. You never see him, with a shovel, and he's out there working. He's always just lying down, reclining. He has nothing to do. And even beyond nothing to do, when you have nothing to do, what happens? If you have a bunch of boys in the village, and they're hanging out with nothing to do, what's next?
Mischief.
Frivolousness. Krishna. And then he understood, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And not only he has nothing to do, he has all the time in the world to be as mischief as he likes. Plays upon his flute, steals butter, all mischievous things. But in the final hour, that same mischievous, frivolous, playful God is there to save his devotees from every and all danger. And only did he find that Krishna in Bhagavad Gita promises the devotees ultimate liberation and freedom from suffering and birth and death. Nobody else makes these promises. They bait something, this and that, but nobody can give all these things. There's an incident where in the Puranas somebody goes to, Lord Shiva was talking with Parvati, and I forget how the story goes there, but Shiva himself is saying, I cannot give mukti. I am not muktified. Only Mukunda. He gives mukti. Vishnu, Krishna, he can give mukti. Mukti means freedom from suffering. No more birth, death, old age, and disease. So that's very important for the world. That's very important for people, because people, by the time life is over, they have certainly seen their share and experienced directly and seen their share of suffering, of misery. And so it's a very marketable point that God can save you from these things. This is a good market strategy. Where, other things in the marketed world, they never market a product, this will save you from suffering. No, they market a product and say, you will enjoy this. You'll enjoy it. Everything that is marketed in the world by enjoyment. Because that's what matters. If you're inexperienced and you're illusioned, it's like life is about enjoyment. Enjoying as much as I can for as long as I can. But when you're a seasoned soul in this material world, you understand that there is no enjoyment, and whatever little bit there is usually ends up leading to suffering. And then you understand actually enjoyment is the very cause of suffering. Just like the banks offer easy loans, right? At 1% a month, you can just up and borrow half a lakh of rupees, and they'll tell you on the phone, you're approved, you can take it. It's only 1% interest. But when you calculate the interest, it's 12% a year. It's no deal at all. It's no deal at all. And if you don't pay, it gets worse and worse. So there are no free loans in this material world. Prabhupada used to point to these skyscraper buildings, which were, pretty much really amazing people. And still are amazing people with these buildings they're built. But for every foot they go up, they have to go down somewhere. First, before they build up, they dig down 30 stories, sometimes 20 stories down into the ground before they can start to go up. So before you go up, you have to dig down. And the iron ore doesn't come out of the sky. It came out of the ground. So you haven't really achieved anything. You just took what was in the ground and put it on top and called that your big achievement. But it's not actually, philosophically, it is no achievement at all. It's just shifting from the right foot to the left foot, the right foot to the left foot. They're not creating anything. They're not making anything. They're just rearranging what is already there. And then taking credit. See what I have done. But the devotees will do a similar thing. That's called devotional service. But the credit we give to Krishna. The credit we are not interested in accepting the credit ourselves. We give that credit to Krishna. And we say, give credit where credit's due. So if you're in the material world and you're, a newcomer here, then you think the goal of life is to enjoy, and you're simply amassing karma, which will then deliver you the express package known as suffering. And after you get enough of those packages, you start to think, is there a way? Is there some way out of suffering? This is what sparked the Buddha, the great Buddha. When he became aware, first he was in the palace, and his father hid all suffering from him. He didn't know it existed. He was a prince. And any person that worked in the palace was perfect. They didn't even have a pimple, probably. Nobody came to Nobody came to work with a bandaged finger, you know. Oh, sorry, I chopped my finger off yesterday in the kitchen. Nothing. Get rid of that guy. New guy. Everybody intact. Nobody born with one eye or something coming in the palace. No, perfectly beautiful people. He thought, yeah, this is the life. This is the life. And then one day, curiosity got the best of him, and he went out into the regular part of the world, and there he saw it all. One eye, one leg, disease, dying, crying, suffering. Everybody's not like beauty queen. Some really ugly people out there. And then he got a reality check, what we call a reality check. Oh, this is the world. This is the world. But why? And is there a way? He started to think, is there a way? So generally it takes a few thousand lifetimes at least, or more, before people begin to inquire, is there a way? Is there a way? In most cities, in most places in the world, even it's completely hellish. What I consider, and what most of us would consider completely hellish life, still they're trying to enjoy. I saw this film in Iraq, and that's probably the most suffering place you could be in the world today, in Baghdad. And still on Saturdays, boys are taking their cars out and racing them up and down this road and spinning them around in circles. It's called drifting. I'd be just saving my money, planning, get my compass, and find out how to get out of that place. Yeah. Even they're in the midst of a war, they're trying to enjoy the life. You don't realize that enjoyment is the cause of suffering. Maybe not the enjoyment of this life produces the suffering of this life. That happens. You know, I'm gonna get really drunk and have a good time. That's how it starts. In the end, the guy comes to work next day, banged his head, broke his car, right? I saw this comedian once, he did this thing. He says, how does it all start? The Friday, the guy gets off work and he goes, I'm going to get really drunk. I owe it to myself. I deserve a good, get drunk, And by the time it's over, he's laying on the street, vomiting his insides out. And he's laying there like a dog. But it all starts out with, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to get drunk. And so often it ends up in suffering, more than not. A few years ago I was making the advertisement is knockout. Drink knockout, right? And they show, it's a profile of Muhammad Ali in one of his fights, and he's standing like the king. Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer of all time. The king, the champ, he's standing. The point is, you're not the guy standing. This is knockout drink. You're the guy laying down. People are so stupid. They think, yeah, give me knockout. You're not this guy. You're this guy. Broken nose and teeth. And it's fun to see how Maya just waves the answer right in front of everybody's face. Still they don't see it. The supreme magician. You ever see anybody hypnotized? This thing called hypnosis. They make you watch something like this, and then they put you into sleep, and then they tell you, okay, you're a chicken, please start that. And then the person, and they start acting like chicken. Or they'll tell them, okay, when I snap my finger, you look, you see all the people, but you have no clothes. Then they snap their finger, the person goes like this and runs and tries to hide, but they're fully dressed. Hypnosis. The mind is told you have no clothes, right? And then they think they have it. Or you're a chicken, or you're this, or you're that. Hypnosis. Maya is the master hypnotist. Maya Devi, the master hypnotist. Everybody is under the illusion I am this body, and I am the joyer, I am the enjoyer, and all many qualities are illusion, of which none of them are true. None of them are true. We want security. There is none. It's all false. There is no security in this world. Not even for a second. There is no security. There are no guarantees anywhere. You buy a mixing machine, you're better off with a mixing machine with a 1-year warranty. That might work for a while, but after the 1 year, it's over. There are no ultimate guarantees in this world. I asked the boys the other day, you know what the criminal statistic is in the material world? 100%. Everyone is a criminal. First I said that about the Maldives. I said, you know what the criminal rate in the Maldives is? Somebody said 0. I said, no, it's 100%. Because it's just a little island, you think, well, they have less crime. No, it's 100% criminal there. We're thinking this is mine. This is not mine. This is not yours. It belongs to Krishna. And then lastly, I say, okay, well, I'm in mine. You know, I own me. The rest of the world Krishna owns, but I own me. Wrong again. You didn't get this body by going shopping. You just were given it on loan. You didn't choose, like looking at the flights. I think I'll fly to Dubai. And go to Dubai. Or no, I think I'll go to Singapore. I think I'll go to New York. No. You just caught your flight and you were born in a Kannada speaking family or a Gujarati family or an American family. You didn't pick a ticket for your next life consciously. Your karma comes around and equals a package with your name on it, and that's one you get. No choice, no control. Nothing is ours. And finally everything is lost, only the soul is there. That also not belong to me. That also not belong to me. That also belongs to Krishna. The finger is not independent of the body. It belongs to the body. Independent, it is waste, it is useless. Like the finger cannot jump off the hand and run away and live by itself. If it does, what does it do? It dies. We jump off, run away, live in this land, and die and die and die. This is called what? Ananda Loka. Yes, the material world is Ananda Loka. No, it's not. Mrityu Loka. Bad place. So, a materialist, when he hears these things, the face just goes down and down and down and down, right? When I'm looking at Vamana, man, he's smiling like a pumpkin over here. He's hearing the truth about the world, and the truth about the world enlivens a devotee. When the illusion is gone, then the truth is what remains. Remove the illusions. So we have to live in a world which is an illusion, illusory. People, how are you today? I'm fine. It's like, no, if you went around and told somebody, hey, you're not good today, you're dying, you know? And people are like, that's so strange, you know? But it is true. It is true. Everybody is, it's just death and dying. That's what's going on. And when you get the newspaper and you get the statistics, it's shocking. Since this class began on the highways around the world, driving to and from work, coming home late from a party and all this, probably since this class began, at least 100 people have died in automobile accidents. You didn't hear the crash, though, did you? You didn't hear it. You didn't hear the scream, did you? No, you didn't hear it. And even on the road, you seem to get there just a minute afterwards. You don't really see it. That's Maya's supreme trick. You don't really see what's there all around you. The danger of the world, the suffering of the world, the misery of the world. So the devotees live in this world, and to many people we may look like we're the same as everybody else. The same as everybody else. You're also dying, you're also going everywhere. This is the same. But the difference is that we have knowledge of what is actually going on. We know what this world is. We know who this world belongs to. We know the best course of living in this world to minimize suffering in this world. And we know a way of living which produces real happiness, not dependent on the tricks and the toys of this material world. We know about Krishna. We know about the holy name of Krishna. We know about the service of Krishna. We know about the beautiful deities and the Mahaprasadam. And we take pleasure in these things, transcendental pleasure. And therefore we are free from that world. So that is the Krishna world, Krishna conscious world. And no other world can offer exemption or freedom from suffering in this world to the living entities. None of the demigods can do this. Not even Lord Shiva can do this. To a certain extent, Narayan. Beginning with Narayan. Narayan can give liberation, mukti, from the suffering of this material world. But then, we're surprised to hear, but actually we're not interested in it. the devotees of Krishna, the devotees of Radha Govinda, Radha Madhava, Radha Krishna. Yeah, it's true. Krishna can give ultimate liberation. He says, if you surrender to me, no more suffering, no more karma. But that's not why we're here. We don't care. In fact, if Krishna wants his devotee to be born in the world again, that's all right. Heaven and hell, the material world or Vaikuntha, it's all the same to us, so long as what? So long as we have service to Krishna. Sometimes you think, well, I'll be happy to serve Krishna when I'm out of this material world. We all feel that from time to time. Right? But ultimately, our happiness should be we're serving Krishna. Wherever we are serving Krishna, even if it happened to be in this material world. Now, we've all heard this, Vishnu Maharaj and I grew up in the in the Hare Krishna movement, hearing devotee will go to heaven or to hell to serve. So after a few years, Maharaj and I decided, well, we've been in hell for a long time. Let's try heaven for a while. So we moved to Hawaii. In Hawaii we used to say, nobody goes to Swargaloka in this Kali Yuga anymore. Maybe they get 2-week vacation in Hawaii. That's as heaven as it gets. Hawaii. And there are places like Hawaii. So we used to say, the people would ask, why you're going to Hawaii? We'd say, well, a devotee is prepared to go to heaven or hell, and since, no one seems to want to go to heaven, we'll go to heaven and open a preaching center. So we went there for preaching for a few years in Hawaii. Right? So, but really, we're not supposed to be conditional. We shouldn't say, no, I have to go to heaven to serve Krishna. Hell, I have to go to some horrible place. And then we shouldn't also say, no, I have to only go in a good place. What I think, I have a good lifestyle. And we can say like that, but we can't make advancement. I caught a very nice point from Sridhar Maharaj this morning, looking at that old tape. Maintain our position. No advancement there. No advancement in maintaining our position. Advancement means go forward. The problem with maintenance is you stay in one place. Maintain. And he gives the example on the battlefield, the general may say to the soldiers, maintain your position. Right? But ultimately, they've got to go forward to win. So maintaining is not winning. It's just postponing the inevitable. The inevitable win or the inevitable loss. But maintaining is that's not the goal. Maintaining the ashram is not the goal. Maintaining ourselves in this world, in a family, this is not the goal. Advancement is the goal. And a good materialist, he understands the goal. This isn't about maintaining my bank balance. This is about increasing my bank balance. Not just maintenance. But it's such a difficult place we're in. We're happy if we can maintain, right? But Krishna is not happy with that. And therefore, things come from the back and poke us and push us to go forward. Sometimes when we're out driving on the road through the mountain areas, Marsh, you feeling all right?
Yeah,
we're out driving in the mountain areas, and I'll see a lone worker on the road. I'll tell Kunja Vihari, roll down the window and tell him I just saw a tiger. I actually do that sometimes. That's my mischief, There's somebody just walking in, I'll stop and tell that man, oh, sir, be careful. See if he's walking towards us, and I'll come from this side, and I'll slow down. About 100 meters back, we saw a she tiger and 2 cubs. Be careful. Drive off, and then watch the man in the mirror. He doesn't know where to run. But before hearing that, he was just having a lazy old time. When the tiger was there, then what? The guy gets moving. So Krishna makes arrangements, get us moving, get going. This is also and those arrangements sometimes are what we perceive first as a problem. This is a problem, and when dealing with a problem, we get moving beyond our normal status quo, is the word in English, our settled position. We get to go beyond that. And governments know this. This is a philosophy that works in the world also. Governments know this. Big superpowers, they create enemies that don't exist. Or if they need one that really exists, yeah, they go out and make an enemy. They go out and stomp all over somebody's property and assassinate somebody's, mullah or do something, and they create an enemy. They get somebody really angry with them and fighting them. So then they can use the fear of an enemy to control their people or to bond their people together to fight. This is what's going on in the world today. Enemies are being created out of friends just to perpetuate an industry for economic purposes, an industry of death, a war industry. When if everybody just shut up and went home, we'd find out we don't really have that many enemies, or maybe even any enemies, really. They instigate. You understand? This is going on in the material world, but most people don't realize this. They're immediately joining and binding together to fight these enemies. And sometimes they don't even exist. There's been some films and books written about this, where they create a big enemy. The whole nation is mobilized, and they're doing, and they're making, and they're farming and stocking food for the day when the great enemy will come and consume them. And soldiers go off and get killed and come back, and in the end some guy finds out there is no enemy. These soldiers are just being taken off and shot and brought back to look as if they went to a war and fought the enemy. The psychology of control. So sometimes the similar principle manifests in spiritual life. We become a little lethargic, means a little bit lazy. So Krishna puts a little fire under our chair to get us moving. He creates a situation. Now, classically speaking, in the Mahabharata, you have Vidura. He's living in the house with, who is his brothers, Pandu, and Dhritarashtra. Everything's nice. They're working it out. Brothers, a little problem here and there, a little family. They're working it out. But Krishna's looking at the situation and going, no, this doesn't work. We need to put fire under their seat. Krishna knows, I'm going to speak Bhagavad Gita at Kurukshetra here in a few years, and the way these guys are going, we'll all be sitting around sewing flower garlands together. So he makes some insulting words mixed between the brothers and Vidura's insult. And he leaves the house. Vidura leaves the house, become a saint. And then he creates these other circumstances. Sometimes the great Saint Narada Muni becomes the representative of Krishna when he wants to stir things up. And so then he creates this situation. And then in that situation, the ultimate good for all mankind manifest at the war of Kurukshetra. And that was a real war. That wasn't, let's pretend. Those were not war games. That was a real war. And right there, what happens there? Krishna has the attention of the whole world, of everybody. He's got, in Mahabharata, everything comes down to the war, doesn't it? I mean, what's the Mahabharata without the war? There's all the love affairs and this and that and the curses and all the adventures, but ultimately, it's the war, isn't it? Take the war out of the Mahabharata. It doesn't what's the point of this book? Where's it going? It comes to the war. And there at the beginning of the war, Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So it's as if today Krishna is saying, now that I have your attention, this is what I want you to know. And he speaks Bhagavad Gita. So those things happen in small ways. Little Kurukshetra wars come up. Little problems of various types. And in those situations, the devotees, they are able to make advancement beyond their normal plane of maintaining in this world. Because we don't want to maintain in this world, we have to get out of this world. So, the move between maintenance and advancement is called surrender. We don't just carry maintenance forward. Maintenance is all fours on the ground. All four wheels on the ground. Surrender means no wheels on the ground. You fly in the sky when you surrender. And when you get to where you're landing, you think, how did I do that? How did that happen? I mean, I'll never in my life forget when we were making of the Jagannath deity here. It's impossible. If you've ever seen me build something out of wood, then you'll wonder how in the world this deity came. Of course, there were some carpenters there, but they were afraid to do anything but cut straight lines. When it came to shaping Jagannath's face, they brought in this big machine and passed it over to me. In one sense, we're lucky there's even one tree remaining here. And I didn't just knock down every tree with this machine or something. Nothing I ever made in my life. Well, I did. I made a wooden bowl. But somehow, I had to go in the air, all four wheels off the ground, and make this thing, unless you were there to see it, huh? That thing was a big machine, right? Balaram, you were there that day? Grinding that thing goes, and you can spoil everything in a second with that thing. And how nicely it came out, with two natural eyes and a natural smile before the deity was painted. Two eyes and the mouth were already there. So at that time I remember there was some great sculpture, and he says, how do you make such a beautiful sculpture? He simply said, simply have to remove the pieces that are not the sculpture. It's already there. So in the higher thinking, yes, even amongst the poets, even amongst the materialists, in the higher thinking there's a sense of a permanent reality that is already there. And all we have to do is eliminate what is not part of that, and then it will be there, manifest. So that's how we just remove the pieces of wood that were not Jagannath. Since then, you seen me make anything out of wood? No. And there's good reasons why. I do all right with fires. I can burn things, that's about it. But make things out of wood, no chance. So therefore we say Lord Jagannath is self-manifest deity. Because generally it takes a man skilled in the art of deity making to do such a thing. All right, so to make advancement there must be surrender. But to surrender we must have faith. Or faith is called Shraddha. Or in English we say we must believe. You see, we must have a belief. But belief is something that's more mental. And not more, it is mental. Belief is a total mental thing. You know, I believe this, I believe that. That changes. Shraddha is a deeper feeling. It's not up here in the head like a heavy thinker and I believe in it. No, it's a feeling. It's more we say here in the heart, because feelings of grief, particularly grief. Happiness, when you're happy, where do you feel the happiness? It's kind of like, happiness, I'm happy, right? But when you feel sadness, when you feel grief, when someone you love dies, or, when something really bad happens, that you feel grief, where do you feel that? You feel that in your arms? Yeah, you may feel it all over, but you feel it here, in the body of your being, in your heart. So it said there is where the soul is sitting peacefully, somewhere there in the heart area. The soul is situated in the heart, we say. So, Shraddha, spiritual believing or faith, is felt in the heart. It's not thought through the brain. It's a much deeper sense of knowing. Thinking you can know something. You can know. You can have so much knowledge and put it together, 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, and then come to the next conclusion. Yes, I know it is this. You can believe in that and you know a truth based on these facts that you can think through. Well, Shraddha is even more profound than a thinking process to allow us to know something is real. It's because even then we go, oh yeah, I made a mistake. I made a mistake in my calculations. So knowledge is not the ultimate knowing. Although knowing, to know, gnosis, the English word gnosis, knowing, it comes from knowledge, right? But the ultimate knowing is through Shraddha, through feeling. Feeling is the ultimate knowing. So today is a very special day in that regard because we cannot make advancement without surrender, and we cannot surrender without faith. So where do we go to get that? Where can we get that? Where is that? Can I buy that? Do you sell that in the store? You don't? Do you have any extra in your pocket there? Where is faith? What is faith? Faith is the halo of Srimati Radharani. Faith is the Jyoti of Radharani. Krishna has a Jyoti, Brahma Jyoti. That spiritual effulgence. It's called Brahma Jyoti. So if you see, the artists have helped us on this a little bit. There are descriptions which the artists then paint, and you'll see one halo is there on Radharani. It was such a classic thing in the West for so many times. Somebody be in the temple, they'd be looking at the pictures. They would, if it was Krishna alone, they would say, "Who's that girl?" If it was Krishna alone, most of the time they said, "Who's that girl?" Particularly the one where Krishna, Gopal, sitting with the two cows, and he's sitting and his one leg is crossed over the next, this famous Brijavasi painting. They say, "Who's that girl?" And we know, no, that's Krishna. That's not a she, that's a he. And you go, really looks kind of feminine to me, because the only experience they have of beauty is feminine beauty. Men are not beautiful. Women are beautiful. But Krishna is the beauty of all men and all women. He's the source of all beauty. So, but many of the pictures of Radha and Krishna, and there is they always paint like a halo. It means a glow, an aura around Krishna, kind of golden color, right? You've seen them paint and everything. And Surya, what do they call that? Surya something. Sun. Right? Anyway, so people used to say, and not just people, new devotees just joining the ashram, and they'd say, well, what is that? I remember I asked. I said, well, what is that light? That's Krishna's Brahma Jyoti. Well, Radharani's standing right there in the picture, and she's also got one. But in my whole life, I never heard anybody go, "Oh, okay, what's that one?" and point to the one in Radharani. And if they did, probably go, "Oh yeah, that's Krishna's Brahma Jyoti too." It's just kind of everywhere. That's not what that actually represents. That's Radharani's own Jyoti. She has her own Jyoti. And that's called Shraddha. The halo of Radharani is Shraddha, or faith. And it is that faith which enables a living entity to surrender to Krishna. Because without faith, you can't make the motion of surrender. You can continue a certain level of maintenance, and even like advancement. That you do now, you can't even mention this in Bengal. There'll be a war. But now we're not in Bengal. We all know Ramakrishna mission and all this and everything. But he invented this word, Daridra Narayan, means poor Narayan. Well, unfortunately, these two don't mix. Narayan means the source of all opulence and wealth. So to say a poor Kurupati doesn't work. There are no poor Kurupatis. When you're a Kurupati, poor is not in your vocabulary. It's not in your description. You know, you've got your card, you've got your business card, and at the end of it, it says poor. No, poor. What is this? This is not possible. If it is Kurupati, then how much darkness when the sun is shining on a meter flat piece of marble? How much darkness can be there? None. You can't have any darkness. Wherever you have light, you cannot have darkness. It's as simple as that. So where you have wealth, there's no poverty. If you're rich, you can't be poor at the same time. So there is no such thing as a Daridra Narayan. He was using this word to describe all the people in Calcutta on the streets, thinking that they are also Narayan. This is a Leela of Narayan. But this is not a correct understanding. This is the Leela of Maya. And her Durga, her imprisonment of the living entities and causing them to suffer and deluding them into doing activities which in their next life will result in their suffering. But the Supreme Lord does not become many living beings and then bewildered and suffer. This is a misunderstanding of the proper knowledge. So this is a very special day. This is Radharani's appearance day, 4,999 years ago. Because she's 1 year younger than Krishna. So, there's a place in Vrindavan called Barsana. And Barsana, everybody run to Barsana. This is a place of Radharani. There's Vrindavan Forest. Krishna never lived there. There is a place called Nandagram. That's where Krishna lived. There is a place called Gokul. That is where Krishna grew up for the first 2 years, I think, 1 year, 2 years. And of course there's Mathura, that is where Krishna appeared first as Narayan, then as Krishna. I didn't tell this part of the story on Janmashtami. Then you all know the story of Krishna's appearance, and everybody fell asleep, and all the shackles in the prison, everything fell off, and Vasudeva took Krishna, wrapped him across, took across the Jamuna River. For a moment he dropped Krishna in the river. For just a moment Krishna was lost. It was monsoon, it was flood time. He crossing the river, and all of a sudden Jamuna Devi just went and just took Krishna for a moment and then put back in his hands. But for a moment he dropped Krishna in the river. Then he got Krishna back, he crossed the river, and he went to the house of Nanda Maharaj. They were related. Vasudeva was related to Nanda Maharaj. And he went there, and everybody there also falling asleep under Yoga Maya. And that same day, that same night, Mother Yasoda gave birth to twins. Twins. One boy and one girl. That girl was Yogamaya. And that boy was Krishna. Then when Vasudeva reached there, everybody's asleep, and he looks, and laying next to the mother is a little baby girl. So he takes Krishna, he picks up the girl, and he puts Krishna in the place of that girl. But just a little bit under the covers, there was another Krishna. Because Mother Yasoda gave birth to twins, one boy and one girl, Krishna. Mathura is on the opposite side of the river from what is called Vrindavan. It is Mathura. And Krishna appears in Vrindavan. Krishna also never leaves Vrindavan. So at the same time Krishna was appearing as Narayan, he was appearing in his own form as the son of Yasoda. Yasoda Nandana and Nanda Nandana. You follow? So then what happened? He crept out of the house and went back to Kamsa's prison and got himself back in the prison, and the little girl was there. Then everybody woke up. The cries of the child alerted the guards. Kamsa came with his guards thinking, now this is the 8th son of Devaki. But it turned out to be a girl. And then they told him, you better kill it anyway. Kill the kid anyway. It's the 8th child. So he started to kill that child, and then that child rose up in the air and showed many arms and many weapons as a Devi. And spoke a little bit about the sad future that was coming for Kamsa and his stupidity to think that he could kill Krishna. And then she left the place. Well, meanwhile, Mother Yasoda woke up and found only one child. And there's the midwives are there, everybody waking up, and everybody's saying, didn't she give birth to twins, one boy and one girl? For a moment, everybody was suspect. What has happened here? And there weren't two boys. Now, Vasudeva, the expansion of Krishna, merged back into the Adi Swayam Bhagavan, original Krishna. Understand? He come from Krishna, he merged back into Krishna. This is mentioned in the books of Sanatana Goswami and other places, Rupa Goswami, etc. But they thought for a moment, but she, and then seeing the beauty of Krishna, everything forgotten. So that's your beautiful child. And simply they forgot. And Mother Yasoda is like, I mean, when a mother gives birth, that's something to remember, right? Oh, it's such a beautiful child. Really, it is forgotten. That is called yoga mind. No Sri Vaishnavas know this story. This is only for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And that is there in the books of the Goswamis. How do they know these things? Well, these are the people of the Leela of Krishna, and they know these things. So then, that is in a place called Gokul. That is not Mathura, and it is not Vrindavan. It is called Gokul. And one of the village, and then there's a village in Gokul, near Gokul, called Rao. And there's another one called Dauji. And, of course, the year before, Lord Balaram appeared there. I'm not going to tell the whole story of that. Then Krishna appeared. I just want to tell you something about that. And we didn't tell like this on Janmashtami. There are too many people who never heard the story. In fact, some of you never heard the story. And then it's just too different. Everybody thought, no, Krishna born, Krishna came, everything like this. Then how to answer the question? Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. If he never leaves Vrindavan, then how does he even go to Vrindavan? Because that is Vasudeva who appears in the Torah. That is an expansion of Krishna. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, never leaves Vrindavan. And his pastime of appearance also takes place in Vrindavan, means in Gokul, not in Mathura. So nearby in Gokul is a place called Raul. And in Raul is where Radharani was found. She didn't appear. She was found. Of course, she must have appeared, but where she appeared was on a lily pad, in a lotus pad on the river Jamuna. Just like Sita was found in the ground while plowing. She comes from the furrow, from the place where the plow goes. This child came from the earth. So Radharani was found on the river Jamuna, on the pad of the lilies. It was found by Vrishabhanu. He was very happy. He took Radharani to their home, and his wife Kirtida, she was very happy. But then they noticed, probably they could have thought, somebody gave out this child who was blind. The child was blind when he was born. So probably they may have been thinking somebody's born this blind child, what to do? Give to Jamuna. Jamuna will take. But they were so happy because they had no children. So they were happy to get this, and the girl was beautiful. But the eyes were sealed shut. They wouldn't open. They couldn't open the eyes. But still they were happy to have a child. And they raised that child. Then some demons started attacking Krishna. Because Kamsa, this is the power of Maya. Even Durga, with, 8 arms this side and 8 arms this side with all these weapons, stands in front of Kamsa and tells him, it is useless for you to think that you can kill Krishna. Still, 2 months later, he's back at it again. He's got a bad counsel. What do you call it? Counsel. He has bad counsel. Bad association. And actually, Narada Muni goes in there every once in a while and tells him, you could probably do it. If anybody could do it, you could do it, Kamsa. You're a big man. You can do it. Because Narada Muni wants to just escalate this whole thing, get rid of all these demons. And so he's telling him, yeah, you could probably beat Krishna. Why don't you go over there and have a go at him? One more demon dead. Gone. Narada Muni did that. Pushed Kamsa. Kamsa almost gave it up. Then the bad council, yeah. And they all got together and they started sending demons. Well, the people in Vrindavan didn't understand what was going on. Or in Gokul, they thought, this is a bad place. There's a lot of ghosts here. There's a lot of bad celestial things are happening here. There's Putana. There was Trinavarta. So they decided to move, go somewhere else. This is something that's common in the world. Things get bad where we are, but let's go somewhere else. Let's move. So Krishna created this situation, and he wants to move on in progress in his Leela. So Nanda Maharaj and his clan and King Vrishabhanu and his clan, they just packed it up out of Gokul and they left. So if you're in Mathura, they're on the other side of the river. So they came down towards what is called present-day Vrindavan, and they crossed the river. They came onto the same side of the river. And there was a beautiful forest there. And these forests were big. And there were many meadows and lakes within the forest, ponds. And the river Jamuna ran right beside it. Very beautiful place. So they passed through this forest, and then all around the edge of it, there were many meadows, grazing grounds. So the leaders of the clans decided, well, this is a good place. Let's stay here for about a year, graze the cows, and we'll check up ahead where's a good place where we want to move. So that forest that they stopped, that is called the Vrindavan today. So you've got this baby Radharani, means playing in the Leela of a child, blind. And you've got Krishna 1 year older, and you've got Balaram another 1 year older, and there are other children also in the village at the time, and they're moving. So they stayed there for 1 year, and then they moved on. And Nanda Maharaj, he stopped at a place called Nandagram. It's called Nandagram. That hill, is that Shiva or Brahma?
That's Shiva.
That hill is considered non-different than Shiva, Lord Shiva. Then about another 30 kilometers, and you can see 25 kilometers from one hill, you can see there's another hillock over there. And King Vrishabhanu, he went over there. That is what we call Varsana. And that is Lord Brahma. That hill is considered to be like manifestation of Brahma. So the clan split into two groups, and they went and set up their new living there. Now they're in the second year, about 2.5 years. This little girl is still blind. So in between the two hills is a lake. And in the harvest time, as is common in the village, some celebrations must be held. So the two clans of Nanda Maharaj and King Vrishabhanu, they met here on this lake. You can still visit it today in the Vrindavan, right? And they made for a big festival, and they made for merrymaking. Because Radharani was blind, she was kept in a basket. But Krishna was out and about. He's 2+. So he's all over the place, crawling, half walking. He's all over the place, right? As children get out and around. So this big festival is going on. Radharani is in a basket. And Krishna crawls up to the basket, pulls himself up, looks in the basket. At that time, Radharani opens her eyes. So she didn't want to see anything in this world, even her own parents, even the devotees. Her eyes are meant first for Krishna. So then the opportunity was given at this place. There's a little temple there. And Radharani saw Krishna. Now, it's just the opposite. Radharani, her eyes were only meant for Krishna, and so in this world she sees only Krishna first. Similarly, Radharani will give us the eyes how to see Krishna and to see Krishna. So this is a very special day. Generally people pray to Krishna for mercy, but they don't know where the mercy department is. Radharani is in charge of the mercy department. So we hope that Srimati Radharani will be merciful upon all the devotees, as she seems to have been all these years and continue to be in the future. And I think, I mentioned yesterday, I've never seen the deities look so beautiful in the 20 years which we've been doing service for Radha Madhava. They look so extra beautiful these last few days. So I think they must be very happy with all the service that's going on. And go for a minute.